Hey guys, the market's not doing anything too exciting. Obviously, I didn't want to get in anything else. I just wanted my BTC short. Like in my last update video, it happened exactly as we expected. So we had this bounce here. I wasn't even the slightest bit nervous because we had all the EMAs in the top of the cloud on the hourly. So I was really confident we would go back down. And what did I show you in the last update? This cloud wall. Isn't that really incredible? Like when we come up against these big cloud walls, whether it's bullish, a big green wall that's going up, or a big red wall, right? When you have that vertical cloud wall facing you like that, sometimes you do break into the cloud and push up to the top. Obviously, every model doesn't hold every single time. Eventually, they fail, right? But most of the time, with like an incredible level of precision, when we walk into a situation like that, we dump along that cloud. Now, we could go below the cloud, or she could eventually make an attempt to break into the cloud. I haven't closed the short yet. It's holding at the 618 retracement. I don't know yet if we're getting lower and going to the 786. It's definitely possible, though, especially since we're seeing exactly what I was talking about the last couple of days. Last couple of days, I said we haven't lost hope completely for the bullish model, right? We still had another chance to push up, but unless we broke above this big white line, this trend line resistance up here, unless we break above that trend line resistance, we're not doing it. We failed. We had one more small attempt, and we couldn't get up enough, and that was it. Now it's curtains. So now we have the daily looking bearish. This looks like we're correcting for multiple days at this point. So I'm expecting, I think it's pretty likely we go down to that 786. As I said in my earlier updates, I said unless we manage to recover and save the bullish trend and get above that main trend line reversal, unless that happens, we're going to see the daily turn bearish. And if that happens, we probably go back down to 31. Now, we might not go all the way to the 31 support, but remember we have the 30K is the big support. 31 is the new support that we've established. And then above that, we have the 786 fib retracement. So we're holding at the 618 right now. I'm expecting multiple days where we go down. So the daily Stoke, even if it doesn't make a run all the way back down to those lower levels, at least it's going to reset enough. So I'm expecting to stay bearish. I'm going to leave my BTC short open. And I kind of want to add to it. I wanted to add to it before this latest big dump, and I didn't pull the trigger just because I've been kind of busy. So I kind of missed out because that was what I was talking about even yesterday, where I said, if everything looks right, I want to enter a big short. Like right now, I have a nice short going, but it's more of a short-term short where I could still make a lot of money on it, but I don't have a ton of capital in it. I wanted to really double down on this and go in much bigger. And I missed the initial window, but it's not completely over. The only reason why I'm not hopping in now is because there's some uncertainty. The 4 hour started to bounce, then we hit that cloud wall and it just shot straight down. We're getting pretty close to the bottom of the cloud, and once we get below the cloud, we could potentially move sideways a bit more. I think that daily model overall is strong enough to warrant a larger short. I just don't want to pull the trigger on it just yet. Maybe if the 1 hour, maybe if we see like a short-term bounce and the 1 hour recovers a little bit and the 1 hour Stoke is really high, then that will be a better time to do it. Because you can see, look at the last couple times, right? Like we had a big run up on the Stoke here, another bounce here, and the Stoke matched up with that price high, right? We had the high on the price, high on the Stoke, high on the price, high on the Stoke. Here, we started to turn up because that bear wall on the cloud wall on the 4 hour model was just so bearish. Obviously, I thought we were going to keep going down, and sure enough, we reversed back down. When the Stoke is down at these lower levels, we might just continue downward. So some people might just enter a short here. Me personally, I want to get the best entry I can, especially since I wanted to make a much bigger move on the short. I wanted to add a lot of capital to that short. So I think I'm going to wait, because I would rather, like, even if it gets lower, I would rather get a lower entry, which means overall I'll make less money. I'd rather get a lower entry on the short, but have a really high Stoke where I'm confident it's going to make another leg down, than get in now when we might get a short-term bounce. So my current trade is good enough. This was a really great surgical trade. I mean, my original stop loss was 1.25% above my entry. And you can see immediately after I got in, it dumped. We got a bounce, it dumped. Another bounce, it dumped. And on those bounces, based on the hourly model, I was able to tell the guys in the group, I wouldn't get into the short yet, wait for that hourly to get high. And sure enough, when it got high, that's when some of the guys in the group got in with me. So right here was a little bit more unexpected because we had just started turning up on the Stoke. But next time, if we do get up to one of those higher levels on the hourly Stoke, if we can get back up to like 70 or so, I would open that much, much larger position. But overall, again, I think we're seeing multiple days that are going to be bearish. There's going to be bounces along the way. So for instance, if we look at the 4 hour started out with a bullish bounce, but we had such strong resistance here. I predicted this failure because we had that cloud wall on the bottom of the Stoke, on the bottom of the cloud. That's why my Ichima model is so important. I don't just trade based on the Stoke oscillator because that doesn't give you enough information. I use that combined with my Ichima dynamic. So because the bottom of the cloud is such a key dynamic support for me, even though the Stoke technically was turning up and that would normally be when I started getting bullish, the bottom of the cloud was such a strong resistance, I decided to stick to the short. Sure enough, it paid off. So if we start seeing signs that it's going to break sideways and maybe get into the cloud, I would close the short and take my profit. But for right now, since the daily is turning down, I'm staying in the short and I'm expecting us to go lower. Last thing I'll say is it might be worth shorting the alts as well. Initially right here, we're getting a relatively consistent performance across the market. Most of the alts are going down at the same levels that BTC are. We're not seeing anything catastrophic. However, if I told you that we were going to have 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 days of overall bearish trend on Bitcoin, other than short-term bounces along the way, we're going to have days here and there where we have, a 12, 18-hour window where everything is green. But overall, over the course of a week, I expect to go lower. If I told you that, you'd obviously want to get into the alts, right? So I'm pretty sure there are going to be some alts that I want to enter shorts on. As far as which are going to have the larger move down, it might be a tough call. I'm not as good at that, admittedly. I'm really good at identifying alts that can have an explosive pump. So sometimes I'll get into alts that'll pump 50% or 100% in a week. And I'm able to find those big breakouts on the way up. I'm not as good finding the alts on the way down. I'm really good at shorting Bitcoin and Ethereum and the other majors, but some of those altcoins can get tough. So for that reason, I'm either going to find a couple alts that I end up shorting, or I might just stick to the other majors. I might short Ethereum and Litecoin. Now, BCH, Bitcoin Cash, does have a tendency to make substantially larger moves than Bitcoin, both up and down. So I think a short on BCH is probably a really good play. Right now, she's not moving down that much more aggressively than Bitcoin. But if we're going to see this last pump up get erased completely, we could have a decent move remaining on Bitcoin Cash as well. So let me just see really quick. Yeah, that would be another 4% down just to erase this run. Although in this particular case, Bitcoin went up much more aggressively than everything else last time. Just this time we dumped so much faster that we're almost back down to that prior bottom. I think that prior bottom is going to get erased. Let me just see something here. Oh, never mind. Sorry, wrong time frame. So based on the daily, getting back down to the 786 or the prior bottom of the big breakout candle, the one that when I had gotten in and called the bottom, right at the 786. So a move down on that. Let me just compare and see if there's more potential on BCH. Because what I might do is take some of that capital that I was going to put in to expand my short on Bitcoin and just keep my Bitcoin short where it is as a short-term one, open up another short, and then have like half of my capital goes to that, half of it goes to the BCH short. So that would be another 7.8% to the prior bottom from the last daily run up, right? So on BCH, this is what I was talking about. On BCH, we didn't have remotely close to the bounce up that we got on Bitcoin last time. So here, we've already pretty much erased that run. We're almost all the way back down to the prior of that daily reversal, the prior bottom from that daily reversal. Yeah, it's a tough call. I'll take a look at Let me take a look at Ethereum and Litecoin too. I'll let you guys know what I think. I'm not going to make that move right now. Like I said, I want to wait for the hourly to get higher. But overall, definitely bearish. If you're looking along and you don't like shorting, that's fine. You can play the next bounce. Like I always say, even if we are entering a bear market, if we can't get back above those key resistance levels to get back up to that $50,000, $60,000 range, even the $45,000 range, if we fail to do that and we continue downwards for 6 months, like what happened in 2018, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I still don't think it will, at least not yet. But if that were to happen, you don't have to short at all, and you can still trade the market. Like in 2018, I shorted a lot with high leverage to recover my losses. I was able to make back a lot of money, and then I developed my systems and strategies and models for trading, and from that point forward, I didn't really short at all, and I certainly didn't use leverage. From that point forward, I played the bounces. Like every time we'd make a move down, you can play that bounce on the way up and make a killing. So that's all I really did. You can make money doing that without having to short and without having to margin trade. But everybody should open themselves up to some margin trading and some shorting. Even if you don't get too into it and you don't mess with leverage, at the very least, you need to start learning those techniques, because to make money on the way down and on the way up is obviously going to be preferable to only making money on the bounces. Anyway, that's all I got for now. So for right now, I'm not going to bother doing a stream with the group. I actually have to get a bunch of stuff together for a big thing I got going on tomorrow. But as far as adding to my short, I should have a better idea in the morning. Again, based on the daily model, right? I'm talking about the daily model here where I see a multi-day bear trend going down. I'm not in a huge rush to get in like immediately, because there should be plenty of opportunity to get in. So we'll see where we stand in the morning. And if I feel like it's making a move prior to then and I want to dump some more capital into the short on any of the majors, whether it's LTC, ETH, BCH, or Bitcoin, I will let you guys know. All right, catch you later. Trade safe, trade smart.